Good evening, YouTube. It's Jen, and I'm back with another Stationery Ramblings video. It's 6:52 p.m. on Wednesday, August 10th, and which means you'll probably get to see this by the 12th if I have the same upload issues that I had last night trying to upload another video. But at any rate, you will eventually see this, but right now it's August 10th. And I just thought that I would come share with you an unboxing video of a pen that I recently purchased for my birthday through the Goulet Pen Company. Um, in no way was, this was a birthday present to myself with money that I had saved up. So I'm in no way being compensated to make this video. But I do love the Goulet Pen Company. I feel like, in a way, I'm supporting my hometown people because they are located in Ashland, Virginia, which is literally an hour north of where I grew up in the suburbs of Richmond. So I really love being able to support a Virginia-based company when I purchase my stationery products from them. And I just really totally believe in everything that they stand for as a company. They're very family-oriented, very customer-oriented. They're just good people, is what it basically boils down to. Someday I hope to get to meet Brian. I think he was at the DC Pen Show last year, and he was just so busy. I didn't have a chance to stop and introduce myself. But hopefully someday, as a fellow Virginian, fellow Richmond native, I can get to meet him and just thank him in person for everything he and his wife and his staff do for the pen community and the stationery community as a whole. So I just thought I'd share a recent notebook and pen that I purchased. This is I hope I'm pronouncing this right because I don't speak German, but the Leuchtturm 1917 limited edition hardcover notebook. Now, you'll notice that there's pretty much a lot that's similar to a Moleskine. It's hardcover, it's got the elastic, it's got a pocket in the back, but there are some features of the Leuchtturm that I like better than the Moleskines. First of all, is the paper is a much better quality. It's much more conducive to fountain pens. But what I also like is that if you were going to use one of these for any kind of, I don't know, if you're a writer and you're writing your next novel, or you're a student and you're keeping track of your notes, it's got this really nifty, I doubt you can see it with the lighting in here, but it's got a really nice table of contents page, and all the pages are numbered. So that's really helpful if you're doing any kind of indexing. I've used these notebooks before for some creative writing where I've outlined things, and I've used one of these to keep track of blog posts that I've posted, and I've taken advantage of the table of contents page before, and it's just really a nice little addition to the notebook that I think gives it an edge over a Moleskine, because it helps you be a little bit more organized and helps you know if you're the kind of person who keeps all kinds of different lists and things in your notebooks. It helps you keep track of what you've written in it. So this was one of their summer notebooks. Usually Leuchtturms come in solid colors, like the solid color Moleskines, but I really liked this one because it's this lovely kind of oceany Caribbean blue, and I love the pineapple on it. Now, pineapples are usually a symbol of hospitality and a symbol of welcome. They were used in colonial times in America to symbolize, welcome, hospitality, that kind of thing. People would always hang like a picture of a pineapple or something in their home, and usually like the entrance hall or something, and taverns and places like that would always display pineapples. So I kind of like that this is like welcoming summer. And I don't write things in my journal that I wouldn't want other people to read, because my only rule is that if I'm having an issue with someone I care about, I don't commit it to paper in these kind of journals, because First of all, I like to go back and read my journals. It's kind of a nice time capsule of things and how I changed over time. And I wouldn't want to go back and read nasty stuff. And, you know, I also view my journal collection as my legacy for my niece and nephew to have remembrances of me when I'm gone. And I wouldn't want them to read things either. So it's off limits to write nasty things about family, no matter how mad I get. But anyone else is fair game. Most of the time when I'm venting in my journal, I'm writing about stuff that's going on at work anyway. But so I like the idea that this is like a symbol of, you know, welcome to my world. You know, this is what's going on in my life. Feel free to read it. So I kind of like that. And, you know, earlier in the month, I guess it was maybe the first or second, my husband asked me, "Can I read your journal? Can you show me where your entries are for the summer?" Because he wanted to read what I had written about over the summer and reminisce, because he knew that with camp starting soon, he wasn't going to have any more time to just really enjoy the summer. So I just found where it was and I handed him my journal. So yeah, it's probably silly, but I don't write nasty things in my journals. So I really like the idea of something that promotes hospitality and welcome and love. And I really think this is cool. Normally, Leuchtturms don't have this, but this one has a copper gilded edge. And there was another one that I can't remember what it had on the cover that was like a magenta-ish pink, but I'm not a pink person, so the blue was really nice. So I'm going to save this, and when I finish the journal I'm writing in, I'm going to use this one as my next journal. So that's a really pretty little journal from the Goulets. They stock a lot of different kinds of journals. And if you're interested, I would recommend just go there. And the way they have their website set up, they have it set up with like writing instruments, inks, paper, and notebooks. And it's very easy to navigate. And you can just like drool over all the notebooks. Because if I could buy one of everything that they have, I'd be perfectly happy. And they probably would be too. Okay, so this is the big reveal. Now, I had been wanting this pen for a while, probably at least a year, but I never found the color that I wanted with the nib that I wanted, and I just happened to be on the Goulet website to see if they had it, and they did. So I went ahead and bought it. This is the Platinum 3776. I knew I was going to mess that up. It's too late in the day to be making videos about anything, especially when it's something that I've been looking forward to getting, and I'm excited anyway. Today was just such crappy weather, and I was so sleepy all day at work. It was one of those days where if I drank a gallon of coffee, it wasn't going to help. So this is the Platinum 3776 Century, which is one of their more popular models. Platinum it's a brand that's been around a while. I really don't know all the technical aspects of the pens. I leave that to the pen people who have far more skin in the game, like the ones who own the companies who sell the pens. But this is a pen brand that's very reliable from all the reviews that I've read, all the things that I've seen. And so I am the proud owner. This is a Japanese brand. And just as a general knowledge, if you decide you want to buy a Japanese fountain pen, you have to remember that the nib sizes are different in Japan because of the style of writing that they do. So if you buy a medium nib, what would be considered a medium nib in a European or American pen is actually like a fine nib in Japan. So if you buy a fine nib Japanese pen, it's probably like an extra fine nib. But I don't have to worry about that because I got the music nib. And I like to write with broad nibs. This, feast your eyes upon this beauty. Is this not a gorgeous, gorgeous pen? It's really not that expensive in the realm of fountain pens. This one was on the Goulet website for $216, I want to say. I'd have to go back and check, but Really, I know there's people out there now who are watching this who are probably about ready to pass out at the thought of a $200 pen, but trust me, this is on the affordable end of the spectrum. And I have to say, there's no way my webcam is going to pick up how beautiful this nib is. But, whoops, helps to turn it the right way toward the camera. It's a gold nib, which, first of all, with the price of gold going through the roof the way it has in the past 10, 15 years, gold nib pens are more expensive. I want to say I remember in a review that I watched on YouTube that 3776 is the height of Mount Fiji, I think, or it's like the Mont Blanc, how the Mont Blanc has the height of the Mont Blanc mountain on the nibs, which I can't remember what that is right off the top of my head because I don't own a Mont Blanc, or Mont Blanc, I guess you would say, if you're being particularly French about it. But this pen is a lovely, it's the Bourgogne, which is French for burgundy. And they also had a Chartres blue, which was kind of like a royal blue. But I loved, and normally I prefer flat top pens. Most of my pen collection is flat tops and not cigar shapes like this. And I don't know why. I think it's because I like the look of the flat top, just because it symbolizes like it's a vintage kind of style. Because flat tops were more in vogue in the 20s and 30s, and then cigar shaped pens became popular. And honestly, I don't have too many cigar shaped pens in my collection. But this is a very, very rich, luxurious burgundy resin. It's gorgeous. It's got the solid gold band that says, platinum made in Japan, 3776. It is a converter. It is a cartridge converter pen, which might put some people off, but I don't think I'd be put off unless I was asked to spend $500 or more for a cartridge converter pen. At that price range, in the 500 plus price range, I think it should be like a piston filler or some kind of specialty filling system. Because to me, a cartridge converter is a very, very basic filling system on a pen. And I have plenty of pens that use converters. I'm just saying, at this price point, I don't think it would be make or break for the fact that it's, well, obviously it isn't make or break for me because I bought the pen. But I don't think for most people, 200 would be a make it a no-go, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But it's, converter filled pen. I'm not sure what color ink I'm going to put in this. I might use a blue. The barrel is slightly translucent, which means when you fill it with ink, you'll be able to see the ink in it a little bit. It's not a demonstrator per se, because most demonstrators are a lot more, even if they are colored, they're a lot more clear than this. But it's got a light translucence, which will allow me to see the ink in it, which is kind of cool. I do like demonstrators because I like to be able to see the ink at work. And it's just a very sturdy feeling pen. I have small hands, and even though, despite some of my friends are like, you use big pens, what are you talking about? I prefer a smaller pen in hand that isn't going to tire me out when I use it for a long session. Because especially like when I'm writing in my journals, I tend to write like a week at a time. I've tried to be disciplined enough to write every day or every other day, and my best intentions always go off the rails with that sort of thing. They just always, I start out, maybe the first week or so, I start out like a house on fire writing every day, and then I get something else going on, and I get away from my journal writing, and then I'm back to writing a week's recap at a time. So I really do prefer a smaller pen. It's not a very big pen if you don't post it. And post it even, it's not that big a pen when you put the cap on the back. It feels like it's got a nice weight distribution. Sometimes when you post a pen, it gets a little top heavy. depending on what it's made out of. That's really the reason I don't like solid metal pens, because they can be a little top heavy and off balanced. But this is a very well balanced pen. I can't wait to try this nib. It's a music nib, which means, you know, when you look at a fountain pen nib, there's the breather hole to allow ink to get in to help, to allow air to get in to help the ink flow. But you've got the one slit. Well, a music nib, let's see if I can hold this up. See if you can see it. I don't know if you can see it there, but if you can you see the two slits? That is a music nib, and music nibs were originally exactly for what they sound like. They were for writing out music, because it gives you, on the downstroke, it gives you a totally, thin line, and then it would give you the wider stroke to draw the body of the music note. And that's where the music nib concept came from. It's basically like an oblique or a stub nib, in that it gives you, on the downstroke, it gives you the broader ink lines, and then on the upstroke it gives you the thinner ones. So it just allows for almost a little bit of a calligraphy variation to your handwriting that I really love. Music nibs also allow for wetter flow of ink, which I'll admit I use broad nibs predominantly because my handwriting is very big and swoopy, and it's kind of a combination of cursive and print, and it's fairly large. Got a lot of loops in my handwriting, so I like broader nibs, but I like a broad nibbed, like a music nib or an oblique, because it just gives you that little bit of, it forces you to slant your handwriting, first of all, which I don't normally do when I'm just writing with any regular pen, because I kind of write straight up and down. So I like the look it gives me when I'm writing on a slant, but I also just enjoy how it gives your handwriting that little bit of oomph. It makes it looks like you're writing with a fountain pen. So that's why I got the music nib. I'm really looking forward to trying this out. I think when I write in my journal tonight, I will fill this up. But you cannot go wrong with Pilot or Platinum pens, as far as I know. I've got 2 Pilot Vanishing Points, which I can only describe as being like a ballpoint fountain pen. And that sounds ridiculous, but ballpoint meaning it retracts like a ballpoint. It's got a clicker on it, and the nib comes out and it's a fountain pen. And those are Pilots, and those are very, very good pens. I've got a Platinum custom, or a Pilot Custom Heritage 92, which is a demonstrator version that's similar to this pen, and it writes amazingly well. And it puts, the broad nib puts so much shading into the ink that I use. So you really cannot go wrong with any Japanese pen brand, but Platinums are among the top, and they're affordable. They're affordable. They are a good, I would say they're a good pen for someone who's new to the hobby of collecting fountain pens and has some lower end pens like maybe Lamy Safaris or Lamy All-Stars, and is looking to move up to a really classy, high quality, well writing pen that's not going to break the bank. I mean, you wouldn't want to go from a Lamy Safari or a Lamy All-Star to a Visconti Homo sapiens. That'd be too much of a jump. But if you're looking to move up for a very pretty pen for a reasonable price, I would highly recommend a Platinum. So I hope this video was helpful in some way. Like I said, there's plenty of people out there who do expert level reviews of pens. I would totally recommend SBRE Brown's videos. I will put his link to his channel in the description box as well. He is probably reviewed a Bourgogne, if I remember correctly. He's got several hundred videos, and I've watched most of them. So I think if he hasn't done this particular model, he has reviewed a 3776, I think. And he always does handwriting samples. So if you want to see the pen in action, you can always Google Stevens videos. But I just wanted to kind of show you my new pen, my new pretty toy here, and just share with you about the Goulet Pen Company. Like I said, great people run it. It is an exhaustive collection of anything a stationery aficionado or fountain pen user could want. If you're new to fountain pens, or you're curious about fountain pens and want to learn more, Brian does video series called the Goulet Q&A, where he answers fewer questions that are submitted either through email or to his Twitter feed. He has done a lot of product reviews that he posts on his website. So very informative website, and very great customer service. And I just wanted to throw some love his way. So thank you for my lovely birthday present, Brian. I really appreciate it. And now I'm going to go ink this baby up and see what she can do. Thanks, YouTube. I'll see you later.